Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Superintendent's Corner. My name is Marty O'Shea, Superintendent of Schools in Longmeadow Public Schools. Today we're very pleased to have a couple of special guests, and they are representatives of the Longmeadow Educational Excellence Foundation. There are certainly many things that make the Longmeadow learning community a special place to teach and learn in, but one of the great things is the presence of an educational foundation that funds some innovative and enriching activities that are of interest to our teachers and students. So today we thought it'd be a great idea to feature the work of the Longmeadow Educational Excellence Foundation. And so with me are two guests, the president of the Longmeadow Educational Excellence Foundation, otherwise known as LEEf, Shelley Bethlen, and the Vice President, Sarah Sam Jugu.
Yes.
How'd I do?
Great.
All right. So thank you for coming, and you know, just broadly, thank you for the support of LEEf. And I've been so impressed with LEEf's ability to energize and incubate some important projects here in Longmeadow Public Schools. And so we're indebted and happy to feature the exciting work that LEEf does with us. And later on, we're going to feature a few projects that teachers have had funded by LEEf. So to familiarize folks at home with the work of LEEf, it's a familiar organization to many, but perhaps others want to learn more. So just generally, can you tell us a little bit about the mission of the foundation?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having us. So the mission of LEEf is to create and maintain a fund that supports Longmeadow Public Schools. And we are a group of volunteer parents who simply raise money to give it back to the schools through teacher-proposed grants or teacher-proposed projects. And our hope is that with these projects that we fund, that it will inspire kids to learn in new, creative, and innovative ways. And our hope is also that we get the biggest bang for our buck. So we want to make sure that all the schools are represented in our grant funding, and that as many students as possible have the opportunity to engage in the projects that we fund.
So you mentioned the fundraising work. It certainly is substantial and extensive, and it funds some great projects. So can you talk to us a little bit about the fundraising that happens and that happens annually, and the level of grants that we've seen funded in recent years?
Yeah, absolutely. So while we are appreciative for donations all throughout the year, we really have three main efforts. Most people have probably heard about our annual gala, which takes place in November. We also have a direct mail campaign, which comes out usually in December or January of each year. And then we're about to come up on our third, which is the phone-a-thon that we conduct every March.
All right. So if I remember correctly, the LEEf grant cycles have been going on since 2001 when the organization was funded.
That's right.
And since that time, over $1 million in grants have been distributed to Longmeadow teachers. So, and I think my sense is that many of the grants start with things that are innovative and exciting and new, and then some of those efforts eventually become sort of part of the regular practice here in Longmeadow Public Schools. So that's kind of a neat thing, because it gives teachers an opportunity to experiment with something that they might have a passion for, or students might have a passion for, and then eventually those things become part of our regular practice. So thank you. So there's a grant process that our teachers are asked to participate in. Can you describe that for us?
Absolutely. As Shelley alluded to earlier, any teacher within the Longmeadow Public Schools is eligible to submit for a grant. So the deadline for which they could submit online is February 1st of every year. And the process really is that leading up into that February timeframe, each school has a shepherd, and that shepherd is a member of the LEEf board, and they are available to really coach the teachers through what the process looks like, what LEEf's mission is, if they have any questions about maybe an idea that they've been thinking about but they're not really sure how to make it come to fruition. There's the ability to speak with your shepherd about how to make that happen. And then once the grant is actually submitted, there is a review committee that is made up of both LEEf board members as well as community members. And they will really look at each of the grants in depth. If they have questions, they may even work back with the teachers, because as Shelley said, we really want to get the most that we possibly can. We have such a generous community, and we want to make sure that we're using those dollars the best that we possibly can. So in some cases, we may encourage teachers to work with, say, a different or a different school within the district, so that we can, reach more students with the same idea. Once we have all of the grants, the committee really spends about 2 months going through each one in depth, and everyone within the committee has the chance to vote on those based on a set of criteria. And ultimately then we rank the grants, and then we are able to compare the needs for each of those grants against the fundraising efforts that we've had for that year, and hopefully fund as many of those as possible.
And the grants range in size from hundreds of dollars up to tens of thousands of dollars, is that?
That's right. I mean, if we had to put an average on it, I would say perhaps the average is maybe somewhere in like the $2,000 to $3,000 range.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. We've funded grants in the hundreds of dollars, and nothing is too small. We want, if you've got an idea, it can be really, really impactful, and that has nothing to do with the amount of money. So we want everybody to bring those innovative ideas forward.
Yeah. And we're so fortunate. Again, over $1.2 million worth of grants in the history of LEEf's existence. So that's incredibly exciting. It's a great opportunity for teachers. We talked a little bit about it, but maybe we can dive a little deeper on how exactly LEEf serves to enrich teaching and learning. And I think I would want to make it clear that when our teachers submit LEEf grants, it's for funds that our typical operating budget wouldn't normally provide. And so that allows us to kind of go above and beyond what the funding that we typically receive. So can you talk to us a little bit about that, the sort of enrichment that it provides, the opportunities for innovation that LEEf grants provide?
Absolutely. So the grant process is really an opportunity for teachers to kind of think outside the box with how they want to teach a particular topic or a subject area. And so if they maybe hear a project that's happening in another state or another school, or they see something through their education association, or maybe they just have an idea in their head of something that might be a fun way to kind of expand on a particular science topic or math topic or even physical education topic, then that's the kind of projects that we really want to get behind and fund. And so I can remember some projects that include a sandbox that helps kids learn about topography. In PE, a project that helps kids kind of measure their heart rate and keep track of what's happening inside their body as they are engaging in physical exercise. So, it kind of expands what they're already doing, but it really gets the kids excited. Yeah. And but then we also will support teachers on their own learning opportunities and ways to also maybe bridge the gap between home and school. So it's really wide open, and just something above and beyond the tax-supported budget. We're not here to build new buildings or add windows or those kinds of things.
I think what has impressed me is how thorough the grant process is and how attentive to all grades, all disciplines, all schools you are. And I've seen LEEf grants fund innovative and exciting projects in PE, in the arts, and in technology, and just about every discipline. And again, hopefully we can showcase some of that shortly with some of the teachers that are about to join us. But before we get to that, we hope that after seeing this exciting production that there's a lot of community members out there who want to learn more about LEEf and think about how they can support your mission. So what advice would you have for community members that want to stay engaged or become involved with LEEf?
As we said, we are all parent volunteers, so if you're interested in our mission and interested in supporting Longmeadow Public Schools continuing to be as spectacular as our reputation is, then we encourage everybody to get involved, whether your kids are in the schools, whether they're emerging learners, or maybe they've even graduated. Just go to our website, goleef.org, and also follow us on Facebook. We try to keep that fresh with new grants that we've awarded, new events coming up. So please don't hesitate to reach out, whether you want to sit on the board or you want to get involved more fine-tuned with helping us on Facebook or helping us with our grant review committee.
It's such a well-organized website that you have, and folks who visit it can read teacher testimonials, they can get contact information and learn about the upcoming galas. The galas are great, a lot of fun. And so you mentioned you have the phone-a-thon coming up, and the direct mailing was earlier in the year, I believe, right?
It was, that went out in January this year.
So thank you for that. And so let's take this opportunity to showcase some of the great projects that are going on. It was very hard. This year, over $70,000 worth of grants were awarded to Longmeadow Public Schools teachers. I mean, it's just an incredible source of support to us. We had the very difficult task of picking 3 that are representative of the work that our teachers are doing and the support that we get from LEEf. So we'll take a break. We'll bring on our first teacher.
So how was work?
It was 1,300 hours. My math class from 302 was in the trenches. Davy Roth had it the worst. Fractions were coming at him left and right. He just didn't get the damn things. 2 days ago, I tried to teach him what 1/4 of 1/2 was using different sizes of blocks. Yesterday, I tried again by dividing up pizza. Both missions failed.
Oh no.
But today, I was ready. I created a combat math game where the only way to beat the enemy is to out-fraction them. Davy conquered every last denominator. My game was so successful, the principal is deploying it to math squadrons all over the school. Anywho, how was your day?
Oh, today my boss treated the office to salad wraps.
Salad wraps.
I know.
All right, we are back with our first guest to hopefully exhibit some of the outstanding work that is inspired by LEEf grants. So with us first is Karen Reardon, a foreign language teacher here at Longmeadow High School, and we'll jump right in. Karen, so thanks for joining us, and can you tell us a little bit about your grant proposal and give us a description, and then we'll talk about how it has enriched your experience as a teacher and your students' experiences.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And this is actually our 6th year. We've applied for the grant over the last 6 years and have received the grant. And so it's been awesome because we have been able to focus on different artists every year. And typically what we do is we bring in an artist for Hispanic Heritage Week. This year we had the traveling art exhibit for 2 weeks, and it focused on Antoni Gaudí, who is from Barcelona, was from Barcelona. And then during November we had a French exhibit that focused on Claude Monet, and that corresponded with National French Week. So we really love seeing the art up every year in the main staircase of the high school. It's open, everyone gets to enjoy it, and we get to focus on a new artist every year and expose our students to the art.
Outstanding. What has it meant for your students? How have they responded, and how has it changed their outlook?
Well, I think because I'm so passionate about art, because I studied in Spain and really was exposed to art during my junior year of college, that I wanted to bring that same enthusiasm and passion to them. And one of the ways I knew I could do that was through this art exhibit. While the internet is great and we can do a lot of preparation prior to showing them the art in the main hallway, I think it really makes it real. And because we're fortunate enough to travel to Spain and to France every 2 years, while not all the artists are from Spain, it does allow them to get a taste of it. And those that are fortunate enough to travel to Spain or to France have often commented. Like recently, our students got back from Spain, and a few of them had commented on how they had seen the Picasso Guernica mural in Madrid and how they remembered it from school, and were so excited about that. So it just gives us an opportunity yearly to expose them in person, and that main hallway really showcases the art, because typically there's a really enormous piece and then there's a few smaller pieces, and it's like we're in a museum gallery, and we can bring the kids down after prepping them and getting them excited, and explain the art and do some projects or some activities down there.
You said you used the word passion, and you know, that's the great thing about the LEEf grants. They give teachers an opportunity to explore and pursue their passions, which, quite honestly, is tough sometimes, right? In this day and age of sort of high-stakes testing and standardized approaches, and it's great when we're able to create space and time and funding for those teacher passions that hopefully inspire student passions as well. So
Right, and also it's really neat because typically we have focused on the same artists every 4 years. So for example, our first year of the grant in 2014, we showcased Picasso. And so the 4-year cycle ran through, and I hope I'm explaining this correctly, but we did Picasso, then we did Gaudí, then we did Dali, and then we did Diego Rivera. So last year was basically the second 4 years, and so we did Picasso again. And when we did Picasso in 2014 and we did Picasso in 2018, we don't invite actually another French exhibit to come to the school because Picasso was Spanish and he spent really the majority of his life in France. We were able to combine both the French and the Spanish into one exhibit. And after that first year of the exhibit, we branched out into separate. A Spanish-speaking artist and a French-speaking artist.
So, Shelley or Sam, is there something about Karen's grant that you think maybe was appealing to the LEEf board? That is there any reason you think that this particular project was something that the board wanted to get behind and fund? Is there something about it?
Well, I think what you just described, Marty, it kind of expands on the classroom, what's happening in the classroom, the discussion in the classroom. It actually brings artwork into the school building. I had a quick question. We're not talking about bringing in original.
No,
Dali
these are actually silk screened replicas.
We give out a lot of money, but I don't think we get
No, they're not. They're replicas,
Okay.
and they're traveling art exhibits, and they travel throughout the country. I mean, teachers in schools throughout the country rent them. But they're on silk screens, and it's just so neat to have it in the hallway, and it really does feel like we're walking in through a museum gallery when they're up.
And looking at the pictures that you sent in for today and for your reports, it was really neat to see that the kids are outside of the classroom.
Yes.
And maybe they're interacting with the subject matter and each other in a little bit different way.
Yeah, it is neat to be out in the hall. It feels different, and I feel like the language teachers, both the Spanish and the French teachers, act as docents when we're in that space. And it's also nice to see other students and teachers walk by and get a taste of what we're doing. And the neat thing is that whether you're in Spanish 1 or you're in AP or French 1 or AP French, you can manipulate the art to the level that you're teaching, which is so cool. So, and also, I love that we can collaborate as teachers, and we've created folders and files, and we send emails like, check this out, I did this, and really we can tailor it to any level's needs, which is really cool.
And your colleagues in the art department, I'm sure, appreciated having the displays as well.
They do, and we always announce it, and teachers are welcome to also use it as well. But obviously history teachers can get involved in it, the art teachers can get involved in it, and we often do art projects. One of the things I didn't bring, or I didn't attach a picture, but the French students made watercolor Monet-like paintings. And in the past with the Gaudí exhibit, I've done paper mosaics, which is fun to do some hands-on things that, as Marty said, in this high-stakes testing environment, it's nice to bring something, that's a little bit more, unique and different and hands-on, so it's fun.
I think that's such a, when I think of the LEEf grants in general, their ability to engage students' senses in sort of multidisciplinary ways is really key, and I think we're going to hear from a virtual reality project shortly, and it's sort of, again, trying to bring the outside world into the classroom, into the halls of Longmeadow Public Schools. So, Karen, thanks so much. Thanks for applying for the grant and bringing the opportunity to our kids. It's super exciting.
It is exciting, and I'm glad that kids are exposed to it.
We're excited that you're so excited to teach it too.
Yeah,
makes a
it
big
does make a difference. I think passion is something that is genuine and it comes out.
And it has a big ripple effect into
Totally.
your teaching and their learning. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank
We're going to bring
you.
on our next showcase, our next project. We'll take a short break.
Am I the only parent who thinks this? What did you do?
Do you have time to talk?
Parents, back each other up to prevent youth, alcohol, and drug use. Talk to each other, share information, and you can make a difference.
Will you be home?
Will there be alcohol?
Thank you for telling me.
Back each other up. Together, we will prevent youth alcohol and drug use.
Have you met their parents?
Let's keep talking. Where can I learn more?
Learn more at backeachotherup.org.
And we are back, in the next LEEf grant that we'd like to showcase comes to us from Wendy Case, a 5th grade teacher at Wolf Swamp. So Wendy, will dive right into it. Tell us a little bit about your grant and the origin of the project,
Sure.
and then we'll talk about what it meant for you and your students.
Sure. So I was very inspired. I have received a LEEf grant the year before when I served in the capacity of a media specialist librarian, and I saw a parent, Lee Allentuck, speak about the grant he received for Lego robotics. And I was vaguely familiar. I kind of delved into this not really knowing a whole lot about it, and I said, I'm going to try this. So I wrote a grant to form a Lego robotics team at Wolf Swamp for 5th graders after school. So we just delved right into it. It was a really neat process. I learned a lot. I'll go over a little bit about what it entails. So Lego requires you to have an innovative project. So we had to pick a building in our local community that we felt needed to be revamped or something that was wrong, and figure out a design to solve it. So we threw out ideas. There was too much dog poop in the parks. I wrote some down, the old trees that needed to be cut down that were safety hazards. We needed more recycling bins in the park. So they came up with probably about 10, and we did everything together. So they collaborated and decided they wanted to figure out a better way to help people cross the streets more safely. They felt some of the crossing guards were in just real larger, busier areas, and they felt maybe we needed a few more. So they created a robot called the Street Crosser 1000 that helps you cross the street safely. So that was our innovative design, and we actually, at the Agawam competition, we won the Innovative Design Award. That's a big model there of our Street Crosser 1000, and we were one of 25, the only team out of 25 to win the award for innovative design. So that was super exciting. And then the second part of the robotics competition is the game, which is the game board, where the students, that's where this, it's really a robot piece right here. This is the main brain of it, and these are all parts that you can build to it, and you can design it in any way you want to. There's a table, and the students have to collaboratively figure out what missions they want to accomplish, try it with the robot, and then through trial and error, they fix the robot, they change it, and they're timed, and they get 3 trials, but it was super exciting.
So that's really exciting, and so much that we could dive into there. First of all, congratulations to your team for winning the award in the competition, and to see how the robotics work that now is happening at the elementary level will feed into what we're seeing in the middle school and the high school. I mean, that's really exciting. There's so much momentum in this area in Longmeadow Public Schools, so I appreciate you kind of feeding into that.
Sure, it was nice.
Yeah. Earlier in the year, I remember I was sitting with a group of teachers, and we talked about times where they, as learners, felt most engaged from their K-12 experience. And they talked about those times when they were in charge of their own learning, when they were doing something that was inquiry-based, where all their senses were engaged, and when their teachers were passionate about the subject matter. And that was going through my mind as you were describing this. Like, I could sense your passion and your energy, and clearly that kind of translated into the kid experience as well.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because I thought I was going to go into this where, you're the teacher, you kind of control the situation and you're teaching the content, and I really felt like I learned from them more than they learned from me. Yeah. I kind of was able to step back, and they were doing things that were amazing. And I was like, wait, show me how do you do that? So it's really interesting how the whole STEAM and STEM initiative, these kids really come across it very naturally. But what I really like about this is it allowed them not just to hone in on their individual strengths, they really had to work as a team. We did a lot of team building activities because it's a lot about respecting various opinions, or maybe you should try it this way, and not being offended by it. So we did a lot of team building activities that I think enabled them to communicate with each other more effectively, and in the long run it's going to help them in, you know, whatever avenue they choose to go into in the real world. And it was art. We had to create a skit about our Street Crosser 1000, and they had to act it out. So it really enabled a lot, like you talked about multidisciplinary instruction and curriculum, and it really definitely enabled itself to be completely multidisciplinary.
That's great. And all fueled by a great LEEf grant. And so you have a little show and tell here. What are we looking at on the table?
So this is one of our, so this isn't the one we used. So what we've been doing since the competition was in December, we have, I've still been allowing the 5th graders to come and just kind of play around. The boards, the table is set up in my room. So I have one student, Ethan, who is just an avid Lego builder. And he built this, which you know, has a movable arm piece. And this little, I'm not gonna program it, but this little robot here would allow it to move. And really the goal of it is to complete missions on the table. Whether there was one that was a handicapped girl who was on a swing, on a wheelchair swing, and you needed to release her so she could swing. So it's really pretty amazing, the different things that they were able to do. There were some challenges we didn't even want to tackle, but they were very successful for our first time doing it. It was wonderful.
And that whole process of research, plan, design, build, and maybe fail a couple of times along the way and restart. I mean, it's such a great experience for kids.
The Lego facets, I wrote them down because I thought it was neat, is discovery, innovation, impact, inclusion, teamwork, and fun. And I feel like that really summarizes what like good education is. You know, you want everyone to feel included, you want them to have fun, you want them to work together, you want them to be innovative and try new things. So yeah, it was great.
So from your perspective as an educator here in Longmeadow Schools, the LEEf grant process and what it enables you to do and your kids to do, is that?
Yeah, it's amazing. So supporting, very easy grant to write. I actually went over budget, and they were really wonderful about giving me, I know, a little bit more to cover because it was my first year. I didn't know we had to pay for the tournament. So they're just, LEEf is amazing to work with. I think teachers here are very lucky to have the support of LEEf and the ability to enhance the curriculum without having to dig into their own pockets or without having to go to their principal and ask for something. So it's a really wonderful organization.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Really is.
I just had a question about one of the photos. So we saw the crossing guard, but what was the photo of, what were we seeing in the other photo?
I'm not sure which one. Was it the one with all of us?
No, it looked like it was kind of an over, this shot right here actually.
Oh, so that's the actual, so at Western New England University, there's a tournament. It was in December. I think it was December 7th. It's a Saturday. And that is our team, our 2 team of boys. It's Michael and Will. They're local 5th grade Wolf Swampers. And they're on the table competing. So they're actually,
Okay, got it.
And that's the rest of the team sitting, cheering them on.
And that was a separate thing than the crossing guard person?
That's part of it. Yep, it all goes together.
Oh, it all goes together.
The robot game and the innovative design are all part of that competition.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's outstanding.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wendy, I mean, thank you for going the extra mile with the grant process and with the competition for the kids and creating this opportunity. And thanks for joining us today.
Sure, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
We'll take a break and we'll bring in our next project.
What is the greatest potential threat to our teens today? Most parents surveyed in our communities feel it's prescription drug misuse. What can you do to protect your teens? Monitor your prescription bottles and count your pills. Keep your prescriptions in a secure place. Dispose of unused prescriptions by bringing them to a participating police station. Keep talking. Teens are more likely not to misuse prescription drugs when they learn about the risks from their parents. Together, we can prevent prescription drug abuse. For more information, go to cascobaycan.org.
And we are back with the Superintendent's Corner, focusing on the Longmeadow Educational Excellence Foundation and the partnership that we have, that they have with Longmeadow Public Schools. And so the next project that we'd like to feature was brought to us by Pam Novak. Pam, teacher at Glenbrook Middle School, science teacher. So Pam, we'll jump right in. Can you tell us a little bit about the project, and then we can talk about what it's meant for you and for your students.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate over the years, thank you to LEEf, for the many wonderful grants that I've received. And this year it was a virtual reality goggle set. I was inspired actually by the special education teacher on our team, who was talking about new and innovative ways to try to bring science to the students in a more realistic fashion. We can't pick up and go see the mid-ocean ridge. We can't take them to Mars, as much as we'd love to. And the most cutting edge technology out there is virtual reality, being able to make them see and feel and experience things that they can't in the classroom. And so we wrote a grant, and we're fortunate enough to receive it. And we have a set now of 8 virtual reality goggles that we've used already in a number of different ways in the classroom.
So I've had an opportunity to see the virtual reality goggles firsthand, and it's amazing to see the energy that inspires in the kids. And tell us a little bit about some of the things that they've been, the virtual worlds that they've been able to experience with the goggles.
Yeah, so we just finished a unit a little while ago on plate tectonics, and they were able to put on the goggles and actually go to a dive site in Iceland and be able to virtually dive in the ocean between the separation of 2 tectonic plates. And so see what that's like, and sort of experience that. They were also able to fly in a helicopter over an active volcano at a convergent plate boundary in Russia. So just all of these things that you hear about and look at on maps and see pictures of, once you put the goggles on, you feel like you're there. And so it just gives you a completely different feeling than watching a video. You get to turn around and look in all different directions and see all of the surroundings that you would see if you were actually there. So that was pretty amazing.
It might be another example of how LEEf sometimes introduces new technologies that perhaps 5 years from now will be more mainstream in our classes. So it gives our teachers an opportunity to learn how to use this type of technology in ways that are incredibly exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in addition to taking them to real locations, the 7th grade teacher at our school is now taking them into a cell. So, I mean, that's not even possible in the real world, but through virtual reality, they can shrink down to the size of an atom and walk through a cell and see all of the pieces of a cell and learn about it in that way. So.
Yeah. Better than my experience going through like Encyclopedia Britannica or something like that, so that's so much more enriching.
Yeah.
How have the kids responded? What sort of feedback have they given?
Well, when the tub showed up in my classroom every day, when are we going to use those? When are we going to use those? When are we going to use those? They were so excited for it, and I kept saying, it's coming. And when we only have 8 of them, and we have a class of 24 students, so it became part of a station. So as they rotated through that particular area, they were able to put the goggles on and experience the place that we wanted to take them to, and they just were fascinated by it. Some of them were out loud exclaiming how exciting, oh my God, look at this, and afterwards the kids were saying, immediately, when are we gonna do it again? When are we gonna use them again? And they said, well, I've got to pass them off to the 7th grade. We're letting the whole school use them. So we are really trying to spread the wealth around and let everybody experience them, and hopefully we can augment the numbers that we have in the future.
I'm curious about how you learned about them. And
well, like I said, my Steve Zamora, the 8th grade's special ed teacher at Glenbrook, came to me with the idea and said, this is sort of the brand new sort of technology that's out there. Let's see what we can do with that. And we took a look online at a number of different vendors, a number of different websites, and this one seemed to give you the most value for the cost. And through their website, you can select a variety of different experiences that you can put the kids in, but you can also go on YouTube and download videos that you could. I don't know if you're aware that you can go someplace with a GoPro camera and film it in 360 degrees and then upload that to YouTube, and someone else can download it, put it into the virtual reality goggles, and then you can see what they experienced. And so that's how I was able to take them into the dive and into the top of the mountain and things like that. Was from National Geographic. And so it's not limited to one vendor's product. You're able to take sources from real world examples.
You hit on something else too that seems to be important, that how these grants can improve access to the curriculum for students who might be learning and who might need to learn in non-traditional ways. So has that been helpful in your classroom to engage
absolutely.
all the various learning styles?
There are many times, especially in science, a lot of it involves visualization, being able to see in your mind's eye something that's being described to you. And that's difficult for some students. Everybody learns differently. And so being able to put someone in that situation where they can see it for themselves instead of having to imagine it really helps them. So that's been very useful.
Yeah, that's outstanding. Any other thoughts, like in terms of from the LEEf board perspective, when we talk about these new technologies, whether it's virtual reality headsets or some other devices that kids are using, those are some things that sometimes the board is able to help us with, right?
Right. And I think what you spoke about earlier, it's really kind of our fantasy in a sense that what we fund kind of sparks a bigger program district-wide, and it just gives us so much joy to be able to say that, you know, to be behind that.
Go ahead.
We also love that while we funded this for Pam's class, I mean, she's talked about how it's even already inspired other teachers within the school to be able to use that. So the fact that it reaches even more students than we initially had anticipated is really exciting too.
Teachers by nature, they'll peer into their neighbors' classrooms and say, "Where'd you get that? How did you get that?
We love that. We love
Did
that.
the principal get that for you?" How did we,
And the nice thing about virtual reality is that it's any discipline. You know, and the history teachers can take the students to ancient Mesopotamia if they want to, or you know, the pyramids, or you know, the English teachers could take them to a William Shakespeare play or something. You know, you can think of any possibility for it.
Again, it's similar to what Karen Reardon was talking to us about earlier, is bringing the outside world into the classroom and opening up kids' worlds, ideas, and it's super inspiring. So, Pam, thanks, and thanks for pursuing the grant and inspiring learners with the virtual reality headsets. So,
we appreciate
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break and then wrap up.
How will 2020 census data be used? Where there are more people, there are more needs for public services. That's why the census is used by the government to inform funding decisions each year. But that's not all. It's also used by nonprofits to inform services, by businesses to create jobs, and even by students for school projects. Understanding how the population changes helps us shape communities across the country for the better. Shape your future. Start here. Visit 2020census.gov.
So we've had a great chance today to talk about the outstanding partnership that we enjoy with the Longmeadow Educational Excellence Foundation, and a great opportunity to showcase some of the talents of our teachers and how their work has been catalyzed by the grants that they've received from the foundation. So as a wrap up, again, thank you on behalf of the school districts. Thanks to LEEf for inspiring teachers and inspiring learning for almost 2 decades now, with over $1.2 million worth of grants over the years. So thank you for that. So again, recap, if community members are interested, if they want to get involved or support in some way, what would you recommend?
Come on down. We welcome involvement across the town, and if you have a kid that's a budding kindergartner or a kid who's in high school, any level, we welcome parents at all levels. We invite you to check out our Facebook page. We're trying to always keep it fresh with new happenings and new examples of projects we support. By all means, go to our website, goleef.org. If you see us in the grocery store, feel free to strike up a conversation, or maybe check in with your student's teacher or the building principal if you're curious and need help in kind of how to get a hold of us. But we really can't do this work without volunteers. We're a working board, and we always need new faces and new talents around the table. So please, we welcome you to get involved.
Shelley, Sarah, thank you so much. And that concludes another edition of the Superintendent's Corner.